What's happening, everybody? It's me, your resident supervillain, Mr. J. Washington.
And I'm the swaggy blerd, Winston A. Marshall.
With a bad internet connection. But anyway, man.
Come on, man.
Look, we're just going to get this out the way early and let everybody know your internet is glitchy and it ain't mine for this time.
See, this is why I should have never moved. I'm trying to tell you, I should have just stayed where I was at. The internet was fine. You still can't hear me, can you? Because you're making all sorts of faces.
I can hear you.
Right
No,
now.
I can hear you. I'm just agreeing with you. I'm just agreeing you should have stayed where you was. But you just keep having a lot of faces that keep stuck where they are. But nonetheless, man, this is something that I'm super excited for. I'm happy to be doing. But it's also a somber thing. For the past 4 years, there's been a show that has become a staple to me and many others. And in the level of fandom in which I put on social media, there's one thing. But for many of the stars of the show and the cast and the crew, they've become family. Like, I've talked to them so many times. There's so many I talk to. Everybody knows my relationship with Jordan Calloway. Like, I've been told we can't be in the same place at the same time no more. Like, I just been told, it's just like me and you, Winston, we can't be in the same place at the same time. So it's one of those with me and Jordan. But many of them have made impacting legacy on all of us. And today we are honored as the show gets ready to have its celebrational send-off. Let's call it that way. We are honored to talk to the man, Black Lightning himself, Mr. Cress Williams. What's happening, sir?
What's up? What's up?
Hey, man, I'm good. I just wanted to make sure we get a proper introduction as best as I can do because his internet, as you can see, is terrible. But nonetheless,
look, we ain't got to spend we got a lot of questions to ask. We got to spend the whole time just trashing my internet.
That's how you're gonna try to drop. That's how you're gonna try to drop off that. Okay, cool. Anyway, how's overall, man? How's life, man? I know you got the kids and everything, and virtual learning. Trust me, as my daughter is with her mom in Washington State doing virtual, I was like, I ain't got to buy school supplies. I don't care. I'm good, bro. All I got to do is help get a new laptop if it's needed. I can live with that.
Right. Well, it's good, man. We're kind of coming to the end of it. My oldest has been doing it all year long, and she's actually killing it because she's an introvert by nature. So,
she's glad. She's like, I ain't got to see nobody.
Yeah. So her grades, she's been killing the grades, and this is the last week of school. So, and me, my wife, and my oldest, my 16-year-old, we all got vaccinated. So it's kind of like you're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. My wife and I, we just celebrated 8-year anniversary on.
Congratulations,
brother.
And we actually went out to dinner, and it was like we were out to dinner like regular folk, and we were like, "Yo, we ain't been out a restaurant in a year," and it was amazing to be out. Like, it was like, oh my god. So, so it's good. It's good. It feels like, I guess it feels like things are getting back to normal. We're starting to see the signs of things getting back to normal.
We were out a couple of weeks ago. He invited me out. We were in Hollywood, and I was like, okay, we all vaccinated. But when you see a bunch of people, you're like, oh, this is what things were. You're like, okay.
It's part of it too is like, the CDC said you could start not wearing your mask anymore. You're there and you're excited to be there with your crew, but you're like, I don't trust that person look grimy than a mug. Like, I don't know if I feel
like, hey, bro, I think he lied. Like, you'd be like, I think he lied. He ain't got no shots.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, like, it's going to be weird, like, especially going out in the world. Like, when we went out and we started walking down the street because we had to go get something after dinner and stuff. And I was like, yo, I kind of like wearing a mask because people don't know it's me.
Yeah, I mean, you get to walk down the street normally, you'd be like, oh, that's just another tall black dude.
Like when I'm not working, like my wife and I, we do, when we were doing our pandemic stuff, it's like I go to the grocery store on Mondays and on Fridays, and I would go because I'm in a mask, so nobody knows it's me. I can just go get it, everything, and I'm out. Nobody even knows. So, I'm right after we finish this, I'm gonna be going off to the grocery store, but I'm gonna be wearing a mask, so nobody will know it's me.
Hey, I respect it 1,000%, man. I mean, especially considering you have been, the face of Black superheroes on television for the last 4 years, brother. So I don't blame you for trying to ask that secret identity, my man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you a question that I know I have to ask this because I know how you feel about this. Sad the show is ending. We know this.
Yes.
But how happy are you? You ain't got to spend 30 to 45 minutes a day trying to put that suit on, if not more.
Oh, man. I mean, honestly, when we shot the last, we shot it well over a month ago.
Yeah.
And when it was time to say goodbye to that suit, I was not shed a tear at all, Jack. If anything, it might have been a tear of like laughter or joy. And it wasn't even close to like what the other suit was.
I was just gonna say, because the original suit, I heard you were like, oh,
it was so painful. Like I couldn't even have done what we've done the last 2 seasons. I couldn't have done in the old suit. Like I just wouldn't have made it. It just would not. I wouldn't have made it. They would have called the doctor. Something would have happened. It's cool. It's cool. And also, my family and I were getting ready. We moving like next week, driving cross country back to Cali. So I'm really.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, so that's where we are. Eventually I'll see you I'll know it's you. If I see you on the streets with it, I'm gonna know it. Like, I know that hair. I know that height. I know exactly who that is.
Changing it up, man. I always change it up this summer. I'm doing a movie, and all of this has got to go. I think I'm gonna go with a goatee for the character, so I'm gonna look a little different.
I mean, that was one of the things too, real quick. I was like, okay, Jefferson out here with the new hairdo for the season. I see.
Yeah.
You were just like, look, it's the last season. Let me do this. Like,
well, I just felt like I wanted to. Like for a second there, I was just like, man, I've had dreads at different times in my life, and so I was like, you know what, man, I just want to keep growing my hair. And then if I get a part that like allows me to keep growing it, and then I might wind up locking it up. So I mean, I just kept doing it, and I thought it was kind of cool, the last season, the things that the Jefferson has been through, the family's been through, like it shows the changes. If you go back to season 1 all the way to season 4, it's like, you've been through some things, even though we didn't talk about COVID on the show, it's like the reality is like we all living through COVID at the same time. Right. So it just seemed to make sense, but.
That would have been really interesting to actually see happen, because obviously over the course of the seasons we had how the town was split up like that and put under its curfew and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
it kind of would have been interesting to see what superheroing looks like while a pandemic is in play.
I know. See, that was I mean, I thought I was really excited, hoping that we were going to do that. We the writers elected not to, but I just thought like. First of all, the show is always, trying to be socially conscious, and we know what COVID is doing in Black communities, and so I just thought it was would have been an awesome opportunity to speak to that. Not to mention just even the question, because like when I thought about it, the first thing I thought was like, so metahumans, do they get COVID? Do they not?
Right.
If they do get it, what does it do to them? Like, and you could go all the way down. Like maybe they lose their powers with COVID. Maybe their powers maybe they can't control their powers with COVID. Like all these wacky things that could have been really cool, but.
Yeah. That was one of the things I noticed, though. You could tell in production when you watched it that these episodes were taped during COVID, because you would see the social distancing from the regular cast to guest cast members to extras and whatnot. You would see it. Like, I knew COVID definitely took place when it came to Lala's fight ring. I was like, okay, we're going to do the virtual audience as opposed to having people there. And that's one of the things I do give credit to the writers to be creative enough to do it where it wasn't as blatantly obvious, where certain things you're just like, I've watched some of the other shows, I'm like, oh yeah, they were like everybody going to be 6 feet apart in this scene. But it's certain ones you work things out. Now, you did say something about the show has been speaking to a social conscious, which is consistently done since episode 1. I'll never forget the way it came out the gate. One of the things this season that has been monumental for me to see is the discussion of Black. Okay, are we good? Are we good? Because I got mine. Are we better?
Yeah, no, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Okay. One of the things we saw this season was the discussion of Black couples going to therapy, namely Black men. That was a big thing. Can you speak to how that felt, seeing that in the script and knowing that was the direction Jefferson and Lynn, but mainly Jefferson, was going this season?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't surprising. Like Salim had mentioned it. He had mentioned it. He was going to use it early on. It was like, I don't know if it was season 2. It might have been season 2. He had thought about using it. And this idea of going to therapy and this idea of them having to do it, but like almost having cold words, because you can't tell the therapist what really goes on in their lives, And so then to see it in season 4 was like, oh, okay, so we're doing that. But also, like, I'm a big proponent of therapy, man. In real life, I've gone to therapy a lot, and it's helped me a lot. And I think that it's something that, like, in the Black community, it's like, I remember when I first started, even with my mother, she was happy, but at the same time, she was like, a little hesitant, like, in the sense of, like, I can feel her in the sense of, like, what part of our dirty laundry? Who you telling our dirty laundry to? Like,
Yeah.
But I thought it was just dope to show it and show that it's okay. You know what I mean? And show that it's important. Because, like I said, for me, I don't have that stigmatism of therapy, and I'm a big, like, look, we all got baggage and we all damaged because this is not a perfect world. So it's like, if you can get healthy, get healthy.
We talk about it a lot on our show. That's one thing we've always been a big proponent of, because both of us, I currently am in therapy. He's gone to therapy. I got to make sure it's the left. You on that side. Yeah. He's gone to therapy.
Just say it's over here, Jay. It's look at your hand left. Yeah.
So he's gone to therapy.
Yeah.
Before. And so that was one of the things this season that when I saw it come out the gate, I was like, okay. And so when I would do reviews on it, I would make sure I talked about those scenes, because I was like, this is something that only until recently hadn't been discussed within the Black community.
Yeah.
It took high profile names to talk about it because of the stigma. And now it is more openly discussed.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I mean, like, and I remember, like, my whole journey with it, like, and I think it's important for people out there who maybe even considering it or thinking about it, is that, like, therapy is not a one size fits all situation, which I didn't really realize until, like, I think my second time going to therapy, is that you got to find, there's all different schools of thoughts of therapists and how they work and how they do things. And so you got to find the therapy, the system, the person that works for you, and find that fit. And if it doesn't feel right, then keep moving. And it's not like throw therapy out. It's just, you got to find the right fit. Like, my first therapist ever was this woman, and it was just one of those, like, therapies where where you just sat and you just spilled your guts for like 45 minutes. And it was cool initially, but then after a few, sessions, I'm just like, she's not saying anything. Like, she's not offering anything. And at some point I was just like, this is a lot of money, and I'm not getting anything back. And it took me, I eventually left that therapist. And then when I started going to, a lot of years later, like, I mean, probably 10 plus years later, when I was going to another therapist that became like my therapist, I realized, like, oh no, there's just, not everybody does it the same way.
Right.
And he was like offering stuff up, and it was like, I went to therapy with him for a lot of years and really would have kept going if I wasn't broke, you know what I mean, at the time. And just realized that they're different, schools of thought. And so for somebody who just needs to spill their guts and not have anybody say anything back, cool. If somebody, you need someone who's going to be like, no, we're going to have a conversation, cool, but you got to find the right fit. And it was interesting because the therapist I went to, like, when I got married, he did our premarital counseling, and then my wife, like, connected with him so well that at one point we were going separately. Like we had finished premarital, we're married, and she's going to him on certain days, and I'm going to him on certain days, and we thank God for him, you know what I mean? So I think it's a good thing, but you got to find the right fit.
That important message to kind of take away, because like Jay was mentioning, and we all know that in the Black community, it's still kind of a stigma, especially amongst Black men, but it's just like a personal trainer or a diet. Like, there's certain things that work for your body and your mind that, you're right, you have to find it's not a one size fits all. I think that was a great way to describe it, which makes me want to then ask you this next question, if my internet will allow it, please, internet, about
we'll
specifically, we'll see what happens. One of the things that was so beautiful about this show is the representation of Black fatherhood, and specifically what that means, both as the principal, Jefferson Pierce, but what it meant as, as a father superhero, as just a Black father in general. And you've been doing it for a minute, man. Like, I remember you, I would say anybody that's on SVU, their career gonna blow up. I remember way back, you had the episode with, you were the foster dad, and the kid died. And I remember, obviously you were, the long SVU. You remember that way back,
yeah.
And then obviously as Vince's dad working with Michael B in Friday Night Lights, is playing a father like a role that you really enjoy doing, like because it's something that you've been doing so well for so long?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think it. When I started having kids, I think that's when I started understanding it more. Like it was interesting, man, because I remember like when my ex-wife was pregnant with my first child, and I remember going to auditions and like casting directors, and everybody would tell me like, "Oh my God, when you become a father, like it changes you. Like it's gonna change. You're gonna become a deeper actor." Like they would just talk about these things, and and it was funny because like. My daughter came into the world, and I didn't really feel any different. I'm just like, because I thought like it was gonna be this thing that like drops down.
Yeah,
trust me, I know. Hey, man. I'm gonna let you preach right now. I'm gonna let you preach.
Like, I remember this distinct. It was a funny moment. I remember this distinct moment where I was like, "Oh, I'm very different now." When I was working on Grey's Anatomy, and I was just in the trailer. Like I was in my trailer. Waiting to work, and TV was on. It was like an old episode of ER, like George Clooney years ER, and it was even an episode I hadn't even seen before. Like I'm like just watching it, but suddenly it had to do with kids. It was like this kid thing, and I just started bawling. Like I was like, "Yo, I can't watch this," and I had to change it. And I was like, "That's different. Like what just happened?" And that's like, oh, that's what they were talking about. That's part of what they were talking about. So I mean, that was it. It just I think that deepened, and being a father, remembering my father, and me and my father had a very complicated past. And so I think those things kind of informed how like that I want to, play fathers, and that I also understand, like I understand absentee fathers. And I also understand, being a good father. I mean, that's one of the things when I read the first script of Black Lightning, that like I was like, "Yo, I know this dude. Like I know this dude, and I am this dude. Like I think I'm supposed to play this. I think I'm supposed to get this job."
Yeah.
Because it was
as a father, as a dad myself, I get it. As a dad of two, like I have a 17-year-old and a 7-year-old. My kids are 10 years apart, so clearly I didn't make common sense decisions. But like I decided to start over again. Don't know why. But it's like, as a father, I agree. You start seeing things on TV, and next thing you know, you weeping. And here I am, a dude built like he just got out of prison, sitting at home like, man, my allergies are acting up.
Right? There used to be nothing that I would ever have to turn away, watching something. I never had to like look away. There's certain things, man, I'm like, nah, man. And it's with kids, or like if it's something about kids in war. Like, I just like, I'm like, nope. I'm not even gonna watch that because I just can't do this right now. I can't,
No, and I totally understand. I obviously don't get it the same way y'all do. I'm an uncle 15 times over, because apparently all my siblings thought they would just like make a small football team is what they wanted to do.
Well, West Indian boy, 15 kids and like 15 jobs.
That's the problem. This West Indian blood, nobody sleeps in the bed. That's not. They
clearly they're in the bed, but they're not sleeping.
They're not sleeping. But one of the things again that about you specifically playing a father is those other older roles. They were complicated, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that like it doesn't mean that those moments don't exist, but they're not necessarily being written by like an all black team or a predominantly black team in order to do it. And what's so great about Jefferson specifically is that like there are problems. Like every father deals with their kids and with their significant other. But like a black man that is like that is set as a role model for everybody else, that still, has the things he needs to learn and like let go. There were Jefferson, bro, you need to chill out, man. Like it's not that serious.
Look, Cress, let me just say something real quick. I know your face just said, I don't know what he said in the last 6 words because it's in there cut out. I get it. I'm the same. I'm the same. I was like, I know the face was like, yeah, okay. Let me real quick. I get that. Let me ask you about the show real fast. There have been so many monumental things with the show that so much in DC comic book lore and history that you all have brought to life. We're always going to talk about you being a part of Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah.
Like, I remember you talking about the first time you got on set and seeing everybody in their suits. Can you talk to that for those who never knew what you're feeling? Like just looking up around like, oh, this is a thing. Like,
oh my God. Yeah, it was like, I mean, first of all, like I remember like we were filming Black Lightning at the time, and like literally like they had to, move schedules around, and I had to hop on a plane, fly to Vancouver and do that. And so I didn't even read the scripts until I was on the plane on the way to go to Vancouver. And when I saw, first of all, just on paper, the scene around the Justice League table, like I was like, ooh. I was so excited, man. I was like, oh man. But then to get there, and it wasn't even the Justice League day, but it was just the first day, two Supermans and everybody were all in this room together, and it was dope. And just to talk about, like, you realize you're in this fraternity, or sorority, because there's some females in there as well, just club. And we're all getting together, looking at each other's suits and asking like about the ins and outs of the suits, and like, oh, how's yours fit? Oh, what's your problem with yours? Da, 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 da. And people, like, when they discovered, like, because honestly, man, our new suit, the suit that we had, that's what is fire. And like even the technology, which we had always had, where the mask was magnets, that the way that I had, we would glue magnets to my face, and then the mask was magnetized, so you just clack, and then you could peel it off. And nobody else had that. Like, so other characters, other superheroes who had masks, they were like, yo, you can take that off? I'm like, yeah, man. It just is sitting there like, yo, when I wear mine, I gotta wear it all day. It's on there all day. I'm like, nah, man. And they were like, oh, and I think even like probably weeks later, they were calling my super suit guy to go like, hey, so how do you do that? Like, it was, but it was just so dope, and it was just this idea of being in a room full of people. And we all understand, like, you know what I mean? We're all doing the same thing. We've been doing, they all understand the suits, the stunts, the alter egos, everything. Like, you're all in the same club. And it was so cool. And then when we got to finally get to Justice League table, yo, that was just...
How many times did you say, hey, somebody go grab me my phone real quick?
For real. For real. It was just, oh man, it was dope. As someone who grew up watching the Super Friends like every Saturday morning, I was like, yo.
Well, then I gotta ask you, did you ever watch the show Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law, by chance?
Yeah, I've seen pieces. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Probably my favorite moment actually had to deal with Black Lightning. And it was Phil Lamar voicing the character at the time. And it was when they were all the Super Friends were all on trial. And Black Lightning comes up and he goes, it wasn't always Black Lightning. It used to be Supervolt. All right. But then, Aquaman was like, well, why don't you be Black Lightning? And I was like, oh, yeah, well, why don't you be White Fish? And like every time I see your character, I can't separate the two just because of how ridiculous it is. But it's that's got to be one of the things that, like you said, that just how iconic that this was. If now that this is wrapping up, if you could play another big iconic character like that, what would you set your sights towards next?
Man, I mean, like, iconic character, it's interesting. There's a lot, to be honest, man. I mean, from a superhero standpoint, like, I love Martian Manhunter. I mean, Green Lantern, to be perfectly honest, is like one of my tops.
Okay.
But then, like, even out of the superhero realm, there's Bass Reeves. I don't know if anybody knows, like, the one of the first Black. So I'd love to play him. My wife and I, the other day, we were watching a documentary on Marvin Gaye's What's Going On, and like, I know it because I had this really funky moment, like when I had, my beard was fully in, and I think I was even wearing a beanie, and I was going to an audition for a whole different project. But there was an office that I think they were getting ready to do. I don't know if they ever did it, but they were going to do a biopic on Marvin Gaye. And I was going in for something totally different. And I heard them in their office going, "Where's Marvin Gaye?" And they were like, "He's outside in the hall." And I realized, like, when I looked at myself, in the mirror, and I was like, "Yo!" And we were watching the documentary the other night, and I didn't want to say anything. I'm seeing it all through the documentary, and then finally, my wife looks at me, and she's like, "Yo, that's you." I know. I go, I would love to do it. John Coltrane. I'm a huge Coltrane fan, so I would love to be. I mean, there's a lot. To be perfectly honest, there's a lot.
No, I get it. I asked the question just because obviously we lost a great one in Chadwick last year, and so it's you want to see great Black actors take on iconic roles, and that's one of the things that he really did so well. And you've already proven that you can hit some of these yourself. So I was just curious which ones you were like hoping that you got the shot at and whatnot, or making it, we speak it into existence. What I mean?
Let's put it in the universe, the secret, if you will.
Yeah.
Well, before we go any further, I gotta ask before we get out of here soon. So the series is ending, but the potentiality of the world is not, and that being the Painkiller series. There's been no official word yet, but I've watched the chemistry with you and Jordan on screen, and the evolution of Jordan as an actor in this show. What are your thoughts on the potential of him going on forward with his own series?
I mean, first of all, because I know him, and he's a really cool cat. He all
right. Let's not do it.
You're right for that, Jay.
Because they gonna see it and be like, "Am I?
Yeah, I know. He's gonna get you. But no, I'm happy for him, man, because I mean, I know, he's young, you know what I mean? So he loves all the action and all the physicality of everything. And I think one of the last days we worked, we talked. I put him off to the side and we talked in my room, and just like, I was like, any advice, like, if you need anything or whatever, any advice or questions, holla at me, So I wish him nothing but the best, and I think he would do really well, and I know he would enjoy himself. So that would be cool. That would be cool for him. I might be, there's talk of me, showing up on The Flash a little bit. We'll see if that happens.
I'm so glad you said it before I was going to add. That was literally my next question, was like, if the call beckons, because of the relationship that is set up between Barry and Jefferson in Crisis, because again, I thought in this season, when they were bringing in the thing to introduce the new JJ with the trans thing, I was like, I have a friend in Central City. He can be here in a flash. I was like, look, just tell Grant come down to Atlanta for a day and do this shot real quick. Like, let's shoot down it. So I think that's something people want to see, because that relationship was built in that short amount of time.
Yeah. It would be cool. I mean, they reached out, and we haven't set anything in stone yet, so I can't speak to it, but I know they reached out a couple of times. And like I said, we're moving back to California, so like getting up to Vancouver is same time zone. It's not that bad. And me and Grant, like, we really hit it off. Like, I mean, I loved everybody in the Crisis, but like me and Grant, like we hit it off. Like we share the same kind of work ethic and the way that we look at things. And it was still like that scene we had in the library in the Crisis. Like, it was so much fun. It was so much fun. It was so effortless. And I think we both were like, yo, this was really fun. And it also went by so quick, like, because we just boom, and we were just playing off each other. And it was just like, and everybody, even the crew, the director, were just talking about like, that was really good, and you guys really work well together. So it would be a lot of fun. I mean, and matter of fact, I remember when we shot the pilot of Black Light. We shot the pilot, most of it in Atlanta, and then like we went home, and it was like a week or so later, they were like, we need to get some extra shots. We missed some extra shots, but the only place that we can do it now, because everything else kind of shut down, was Vancouver, and we're going to use some of the Flash's facilities. So I'm in California. I hop on a plane to go to Vancouver, and I'm sitting next to Danielle, Like I had never met her before. And like, I'm like, hey, yeah, so my name's Cress and da-da-da-da. You know, our show hadn't gotten picked up yet. And we spent the whole flight, you know, she's, you know, giving me the 411 on like, you know, Vancouver and doing a superhero thing and all that. So it just feels like it would be fun to go back and do a little bit.
So we got to get out of here. And this is the last question. You are forever etched in superhero lore now, like Winston said earlier. You're forever etched in that. What is it going to be like with that legacy going forward for you, for your family, and more so your kids as they grow up and see this is dad? Yeah, this is dad.
Sir, you ain't got to come out and haymaker him for the last question.
Boy, come back with the wow.
No, man, it's gonna be dope. I mean, first of all, like I like the fact that it is lore. It's forever. It's etched and it can't be changed. And I hope that it's a start of something. You know what I mean? I hope that we look back and it's just like, I mean, it's already. You know, in the last interview I did, it was like reminding me that when Black Lightning had premiered, that Black Panther wasn't out yet, that we hadn't had Into the Spider-Verse yet. Obviously, we hadn't had a Black Batwoman yet, and like now we fast forward and we have all these things, and I'm hoping there's only more going down the line to where we just go, yeah, remember when it used to be a thing and it was like Black Lightning, and now it's just normal and this is dope, but like. My kid, you know, I'm like you, man. I have a 16-year-old, and then I got a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. So I did the big gap like you did. But my 5-year-old is like he's my son. He's a boy, and he has like a little Black Lightning T-shirt, and he knows. He goes, "Daddy, that's you," you know. But he hasn't watched the show yet. So I'm like, as he gets older. And he starts to watch the show, that's just gonna be cool. And hopefully it'll be that time when I need him to like know, like, yo, daddy's still cool. I can be able to put that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Don't forget.
Dad, there's been like 5 Black Lightnings since you were here. Who cares?
Who's the real Black Lightning, Dad? But listen, Cress, I want to thank you, bro, for taking time out of your day and being your fatherhood and going grocery shopping to sit and talk with us, man. We wish you nothing but the best success and continual happiness in all of your future endeavors. And hopefully we see you have to struggle for 45 more minutes to put back on the suit one day. And it's I say that as a friend. I say that as a petty friend.
I was gonna say that's a petty friend. That's like, you know, if they tried to squeeze you in a Thanos suit, your behind would have been sitting here complaining the entire time, bro.
But I'm getting paid for it. Listen, make sure you all follow him at Cress Williams. You all are seeing this today as the finale of Black Lightning airs on the CW. Make sure you check it out. Cress, don't go nowhere. As soon as we say this bye, we will talk to y'all later. Catch us for the regular show Tuesdays and Thursdays, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. on the East Coast. YouTube.com/Blerds in the Hood. Do you have anything to say, Winston, before your internet acts up? Nope. All right. We'll holler at y'all later. Take care. We're going to work, Cress. Bye.